Welcome to our channel Stories and Tales. In this video, we show you a true horror story before we start the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's start the video. The old manor on the outskirts of town had been abandoned for decades, its windows broken and walls crumbling. Blackwood Manor was the source of many local legends, each more terrifying than the last. People spoke of ghostly apparitions, strange noises, and inexplicable disappearances. Despite its eerie reputation, the manor stood as a silent sentinel, watching over the town with dark, hollow eyes. One autumn evening, a group of friends decided to explore Blackwood Manor. They had heard the stories, but were determined to prove that the haunted tales were nothing more than fiction. Sarah, Jack, Emily, and Mike gathered their flashlights and made their way to the manor as the sun dipped below the horizon. The gates to the manor creaked open with an ominous groan. Vines and weeds choked the pathway leading to the grand entrance. The group hesitated for a moment before stepping inside, the air growing colder with each step they took. The floorboards groaned under their weight, and a faint, musty smell filled the air. As they ventured deeper into the manor, they came across a grand staircase, its once majestic banister now covered in dust and cobwebs. They decided to split up, hoping to cover more ground. Sarah and Jack headed upstairs while Emily and Mike explored the ground floor. Upstairs, Sarah and Jack found themselves in a long hallway lined with portraits. The eyes of the painted figures seemed to follow them, their expressions dark and menacing. Sarah shivered, feeling as if the portraits were watching their every move. They entered a room at the end of the hall, discovering an old nursery. Toys were scattered across the floor, and a broken crib sat in the corner. A chilling lullaby played faintly, though there was no visible source. Meanwhile, Emily and Mike wandered through the dark, dusty rooms on the ground floor. They found a library filled with ancient books, their pages yellowed with age. As Emily reached for a book on a high shelf, a cold hand brushed against hers. She gasped, turning to see nothing but shadows. Mike tried to reassure her, but the growing sense of unease was undeniable. Back upstairs, Sarah and Jack heard a faint whispering coming from the nursery closet. Summoning their courage, they opened the door, revealing a hidden staircase leading down into darkness. They called Emily and Mike on their walkie-talkies, urging them to join them. The four friends descended the narrow staircase, their flashlights flickering as if struggling against an unseen force. At the bottom, they found themselves in a hidden basement, its walls covered in strange symbols. In the center of the room stood an ancient altar, stained with what looked like dried blood. Suddenly, the room grew unbearably cold. The shadows seemed to come alive, swirling around them. A ghostly figure appeared before them, its eyes hollow and filled with sorrow. It reached out a skeletal hand, and a voice echoed in their minds, "Leave this place, or suffer the same fate." Panic set in as the friends tried to flee, but the darkness seemed to close in around them. The walls themselves seemed to shift and change, trapping them in a maze of terror. They stumbled through the labyrinthine basement, their fear growing with each passing moment. One by one, the friends were separated, their screams echoing through the manor. Sarah found herself back in the nursery, the lullaby growing louder. The ghostly figure of a child appeared, its eyes filled with sadness. "Help me," it whispered, before vanishing into the shadows. Jack was trapped in the library, the books flying off the shelves and pages turning by themselves. A sinister laugh filled the air, and he felt a cold hand grip his shoulder. He turned to see the ghostly figure of a man, his face twisted in rage. Emily and Mike stumbled into a room filled with mirrors. Their reflections twisted and distorted, showing images of their worst fears. They tried to break the mirrors, but each shatter only seemed to multiply their torment. In the end, the friends were never seen again. Blackwood Manor stood silent once more, its dark secrets buried within its walls. The townspeople continued to whisper about the manor, warning others to stay away. But the lure of the unknown was too strong, and new adventurers would come, only to be swallowed by the darkness of Blackwood Manor. Years later, the manor was demolished, but the land remained cursed. No one dared to build on the site, and the ghostly apparitions were still seen wandering the grounds. The legend of Blackwood Manor lived on, a chilling reminder of the horrors that lurked within its walls.